Welcome. Welcome. We're going to try our hardest to get out of here by 8 o'clock, which is a big ask, but we're gonna try hard. Thank you guys for being here. This is a bigger crowd than last week, which is awesome. We're super excited you are here. My name's Clay Roselle. I'm the president of the association, and on behalf of the Fire Association and all of our families, we're glad you're here. I will be brief. I kind of went on a tangent last time, but I'll be brief. I want to explain how the format's going to go tonight. So because there's so many candidates, we brainstormed. What we landed on for this evening is 3 40-minute sections based on district. So we'll have District 1, we'll allow intros, some questions, an outro, and then we'll do an awkward 5-minute shuffle, and we'll get the other districts through. I think that's, there's pros and cons, but that's what we're going to do tonight. So thanks for being flexible. As far as the Denton Firefighters Association PAC, we are always seeking out, identifying, supporting, and holding accountable public office that claims to support us. So historically, we've always kind of convened afterwards, after the forum, but we're going to change it up because this is kind of unprecedented. So we are having a PAC meeting tomorrow morning where we'll discuss any endorsements that we may or may not make, and then we'll let the candidates know probably around lunchtime tomorrow kind of how it's going to play out. So that's kind of the flow. There are a few people I'd like to recognize in the crowd. Mayor Pro Temp Remorse here. There she is by the bar. Thank you for being here. Councilwoman Jest is here also, who happens to be our favorite Place 6 candidate this year. That's an easy one. But she's here, and she would like to have a few words, and then we're going to pass it off to Max to get started.
All right. Thank you so much. Oh, start. Just kidding. First of all, I want to thank the Firefighters Association for hosting this and for the work that you do every day to keep Denton safe. Hi, everyone. My name is Jill Jester, and I'm currently serving in my first term on the Denton City Council. It's a thrill, born and raised here, and I want to just talk a little bit about some of the areas of focus I've had since starting. The first being economic development. As a small business owner myself, and being a former chair of the Chamber of Commerce, whose majority of members are small businesses, I've been listening, meeting with the downtown businesses, and finding out how we can best support them. I've spent years on the Economic Development Partnership Board, listening to our major partners, such as Peterbilt, our local hospitals, and our universities. As a matter of fact, on Texas Women's University, I've chaired that Board of Regents in the past as well. And what I've learned is that economic development decisions aren't based on feelings. They're based on numbers, competitiveness, and long-term strategy. I have advocated for, and Council has approved, automatic contributions to our Catalyst Fund because Denton has to compete with neighboring cities for quality jobs and investments. Second, transportation in our streets, ugh, right? So Council was good enough to appoint me to the Regional Transportation Council, and that's under the North Texas Central Council of Governments, to represent them. And that entity decides where and advises on where billions of dollars of federal funds go to transportation. Within a year of being on that 40-member board made up of mayors, council people, county judge, and transit authorities, I was elected secretary to be chair in 2 years, in 2027, only the second from the city of Denton. So having that voice at that table has been very important, and it's a privilege to advocate for the city of Denton in that arena. Last, citizen involvement and fiscal responsibility. Here at home, I've been focused on improving how government functions. Denton currently has twice as many boards and commissions than other cities twice our size. That means we're often spending unnecessary time and resources on processes that could be streamlined. I've proposed modernizing our system, using better software to track vacancies, the unique requirements for each of these boards and commissions, and hosting recruitment events. Part of my pitch was to have a recruiting fair at the Denton Civic Center, where every city board and commission has a table and residents can come and learn about them, learn about the expectations and what it means to recruit more people to get involved. With better orientation, clearer expectations, we can contract our boards to a more manageable number while making them more effective. Throughout my service, I've tried to be someone who looks for compromise and common ground. On several issues, I proposed meeting in the middle and been successful in building consensus to move us forward. I also can say I've not played the politics game with my votes. I've pushed for objective criteria for evaluating our council appointees and worked to make sure our decisions are grounded in law, transparency, and accountability. Denton deserves leadership that focuses on results, respects taxpayers' time and money, and works collaboratively to solve problems. And that's the approach I've taken in my service so far, and it's an approach that I will continue to bring to that conclusion. To our firefighters specifically tonight, I continue to share your concerns that suicide is the highest cause of death of firefighters, that you continue to need mental health support and support for peer-to-peer mental health counseling. Our road conditions are also a concern, and I hear that from our firefighters as well. I want to congratulate them on the awards from the Center for Public Safety Excellence and also Denton's excellent ISO insurance standards rating, which includes evaluating the training, equipment, and staffing effectiveness of the Denton firefighters. In 2024, the Denton firefighters had a SWOT analysis, and part of the downside of being here in Denton was the instability of city council members. Supporting the permanent station at Robeson Ranch and I-35 and being unopposed are the things I can do for the Denton firefighters, and that's kind of a joke. But to everyone here, I very much appreciate everything you do. I appreciate the opportunity to serve in my hometown another term, and I look forward to tonight's conversation. Thank you. Thank you.
You ready? Keep me out of prison, keep me out of jail. I'm weary and I'm tired, and I can't make my bail. These walls will take my soul right out of me. Oh, I can't suffer through this one more minute. I don't wanna be here, this is a mistake. I'm weary and I'm tired, cause the guards keep me awake. And I am full of thoughts of only you, and you can't afford to take the collect calls they give me. These walls, these fucking walls, these walls, these walls know me. Oh, Mom, don't find out. Oh, my dad, don't find out. Oh, please. Oh.
Check. All right. My name is Chris Cox. I was a city after-school worker back in 2025 until the program was disappeared or merged with ESD. I also formerly worked for ESD right after that, and now I currently work for Alphabet's after-school education. I have been pretty active in the left-wing scene of Denton for quite some time. I have a lot of experience working with mutual aid groups, distributing goods, clothes, hygiene products, food to people around Denton in free stores. I also have had a lot of experience with the political science side of Denton's politics, as well as left-wing politics. What really got me into this was first city after school going away. That was the big thing that really, stoked the fire. But also, I felt like the city was being influenced by business interests a lot more, of landlord interests a lot more than, the people who live here and rent here and have to work in these businesses. I felt like there was no voice for me, no voice for my coworkers, no voice for really anyone in my life on the council. In fact, the majority of the people I knew didn't even know who was on council. They didn't know who the mayor was. I had to explain it over and over again. I think that the council, the city government, has been separated from the people of Denton for quite some time, and that is something that has led to a terrible, terrible decision in the city council to do a city hiring freeze and freeze the wages and get rid of jobs that a lot of us relied on, jobs that we were also trying to unionize. But now they're gone now, and a lot of people had to leave town. They had to go find new jobs. They still work. They still work at the camps that we put on, albeit for much less hours now. So that's who I want to represent. That's who I want to fight for. I want to fight for the working people of this city, the renters, the tenants, and the employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Michael Herron.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, those paddles look like the colors match together, so if I go over time, it's going to be your fault. No, I'm just kidding. My name is Michael Herron, and I'm honored to represent District 1 and run for City Council. I want to start first by giving honor where honor is due, to the Firefighter Association and to all the firefighters that are here. So if you all don't mind, give them a hand of applause. It's an honor and respect to respect them and the work that we do. Sometimes we can get so focused on what we're doing up here that we forget to remember who they are and the work that they're doing in the city. This is a great group of people. They have been doing work in this city, in a growing city, at an amazing race. And so we want to, they are high class, very certified, very trained group of people that are in a great position for our city. And we want to keep them in that place. I typically don't use notes, but I'm gonna use my notes today because I wrote some important things down that I want to make sure that we focus on, because we want to maintain a high level of achievement that our firefighters have achieved. They have achieved a great high level, so I thank you all for the work that you have done in our community. I'm running for city council so that I can provide a new voice, fresh perspective on what's happening within this city. From someone who grew up right here in this city. I will tell you my quick story. My family moved here when I was 2 years old. We came from Mississippi. You know that saying that says, we got to Texas as quick as we could. We got to Texas as quick as we could. And so I attended all my schooling here. I went to Fred Moore Nursery when it was a nursery school. Then after that, I attended all the Denton public schools. If you want to conversate about which ones, we can do that at a later time. And graduated from Denton High School, the Broncos. After that, I was at a crossroads, and I said, okay, I've graduated. What do I do with life now? And so I didn't know, and so I joined the military. And so I served my country. I gave 7 years in the United States Army Reserve. When I got back, I found myself in the corporate America world. I got me a job and was working. I began building a 35-year career in corporate America while I was earning my bachelor's degree and my MBA. It's something that I ended up doing. Most of my career was doing leadership training for high-level senior executives, where we got together and we collaborated and worked on making our companies and the company that we work for fair and efficient for all the employees. One of the things that I've done, I've worked for major banks such as Chase Bank, Bank of America, Capital One. I've been in the financial industry for a good while, and so I have a background in that. I have also founded my first business here in the city. It was back in 2007, around that time. I founded my first
Herron,
building.
I'm going to have to ask you to wrap it up.
Oh, was it wrapped up?
Yeah.
Oh, have I already made that time? I am so sorry. I'm at the time?
You're at the time. Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry. I will sit down. I apologize. I didn't hear it.
Thank you, Mr. Herod. All right, Mr. Jordan Villarreal.
Thank you so much. Howdy, everyone, and thank you to the Denton Firefighters Association for hosting this forum and for everything you do to keep our community safe. My name is Jordan Villarreal, and I'm running to represent y'all in the Denton City Council, District 1. I'm proud to be supported by the AFL-CIO, the Teamsters, and the Texas State Employees Union, organizations that know my record of standing shoulder to shoulder with working people, not just when it's easy, but when it's tough. When I served in the Texas legislature as a chief of staff, I partnered with the Dallas Firefighters Association to protect the Dallas police and fire pension system. Even when the city of Dallas and a small army of lobbyists, city leaders, and elected officials pushing to cut their hard-earned benefits. I didn't back down then, and I won't back down now when it comes to protecting the people who protect us. Whether that's fighting for a COLA for retirees, the raise you've earned as rank and file, or additional staffing and resource needs like hiring a new EMS lieutenant or pushing to reallocate the resources you were forced to cut due to budgetary mismanagement outside your control. Here in Denton, I've served on the Planning and Zoning Commission, where I learned that good government means finding common ground where we can and standing firm where we must. I've worked to rein in rampant overdevelopment and keep outside interest from drowning out the voices of Dentonites. This special election isn't about petty politics. It's about protecting our neighborhoods, supporting our workforce, refocusing council on local issues, and keeping Denton affordable and livable for the people who call it home. In this one-year term, we need experienced leadership focused on the kitchen table, bread and butter issues that matter most to working families. I'm proud to be that fighter, and I'd be honored to earn your support to continue that work on City Council. Thank you, and I look forward to answering your questions tonight.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move right along to the questions. Chris Cox will begin with you. At any point, if you guys need me to repeat the question, I can do that. So question number 1. Candidates often say public safety is the top priority. In a constrained budget, what would you be willing to delay, reduce, or vote against to fund firefighter staffing, pay, or equipment? Mr. Cox?
All right. So, if any of you are aware of a certain DRC article, you know that I am not exactly the biggest fan of police right now. So, personally, I am very willing to cut a few things from the police budget. I'm also aware of some possible state roadblocks to such. But right now, we have just had another police shooting of another man. So I would like to see a couple cuts in that. That said, I also think that there should be a kind of general audit of the upper city staff, of the city council, city manager, assistant city managers. See where a lot of the money has been going, where a lot of the money has been possibly wasted up there. I want to see where that's happening. I believe that a lot of this pay has not been going necessarily to the greatest places. The last city manager was the most well-paid city manager in the history of Denton. And I also think that a lot of the people at the bottom of the city of Denton need those benefits a lot more than the people at the top of the city government. So even if that means me getting that stipend cut, I am absolutely fine with that. I want to make sure that the public safety is ensured by whatever means necessary when it comes to the firefighters, not the police. But that is where I'm willing to cut those. So.
Thank you.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, sir. Candidates often say public safety is the top priority. In a constrained budget, what would you be willing to delay, reduce, or vote against to fund firefighter staffing, pay, or equipment?
First, let me say that I believe that it's important to fund our firefighters and their pay and their equipment. It's a broad question to just say, what would you cut? until we know what's actually in the budget and what's involved in it and what's going on with it. You just can't walk in and just say, let's cut right here across the board, because what you may cut may affect someone else or some other area. Public safety is very important, but what our firefighters do you know we have a city that is growing? It has we have over 160,000 people, and public safety is going to be important. And so we have firefighters that are manning 48-hour shifts. And so we need to make sure that we provide what's needed for them so that they can be in a place where they can handle that. We have to look at their pay raises to see if it's competitive with industry standard, and even more so that they can meet their needs in their communities and their needs in their homes as they are moving forward. So I wouldn't just say you just cut across the board. We'd have to look at it, collaborate, come up with some things that we can look at and not have to take from the firefighters' budget, because I think public safety is just as important. And as this city grows, we need more public safety. As we have more people coming here, we need to provide for the firefighters. So it's not just the easy cut and dry, cut something across the board. Let's talk about it. Let's find an open door policy where we can have a conversation and make the best decision for the city.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
First off, that's a great question, and the short answer is I'm going to do everything in my power to protect the firefighters' budget. I've got a track record of standing up for public servants when it counts, and I won't hesitate to do it right here. When I worked in the state legislature, I went toe-to-toe with the city lobbyists trying to cut the Dallas Police and Fire pension system. I stood with the Dallas Firefighters Association then, and I will stand with the Denton Firefighters Association now. I know these kind of cuts don't just hurt employees. They hurt public safety in the entire community. If any proposal came forward that reduced firefighter pay, equipment, or staffing, I'd do everything I could to delay, amend, or block it outright. But I think the key is to get ahead of those moments before they reach a crisis point. As a councilman, I'd proactively reach out to the Firefighters Association, just like I've done with labor groups throughout my career, to make sure you're looped in early, before budget decisions are finalized, so your expertise helps shape the discussion, not just react to it. I believe in transparency, collaboration, and respect. That means no surprises and no backroom decisions when it comes to public safety. I'll fight to ensure the department has the staffing, tools, and training you need to do your job safely and effectively. Because when firefighters are supported, everyone in Denton is safer. So, to be absolutely clear, you'll never have to guess where I stand. I will stand with you every single time.
Thank you. Mr. Villarreal, we'll begin with you with the next question. Firefighters participate in a separate pension system. Unlike employees in TMRS, firefighter retirees do not receive a cost of living adjustment, which means inflation steadily reduces the value of their benefits over time. Knowing that, addressing this would require city participation and funding. Would you support working towards a solution that provides retirees protection against inflation, and what factors would determine your vote?
Thank you so much. That's an important question, and honestly one that doesn't get asked often enough. Too often, once people retire from public service, they're expected to quietly fade out of sight. But the reality is that retired firefighters still carry the cost of serving our community, especially when inflation keeps driving up the price of housing, healthcare, and groceries. I'm fully supportive of a cost of living adjustment, or COLA, for our retired firefighters. You earn that protection over a lifetime of service. Your pension shouldn't lose value just because the economy changes. That's not how we should treat people who've dedicated their careers to public safety. That's why I've already committed that my very first council work session, if I'm elected, will include a pitch for a COLA for retirees. It's not just about fairness, it's about keeping our commitments and strengthening the long-term health of our public safety workforce. When younger firefighters see that the city honors who came before them, it builds morale and retention for everyone still on the job. Beyond that, I want to work closely with the Denton Firefighters Association to explore new ways to shield retirees from inflationary pressure, whether that's through more predictable cost of living updates, better healthcare coordination, or simply ensuring retirees have a clear and respected voice in city financial planning. You've already done the hard work for our community. My job now is to make sure the city honors that service in a meaningful way. Protecting retired firefighters against inflation isn't just good policy, it's keeping our promise.
Thank you. Mr. Herron?
I would probably agree with my opponent in some of the ways that he said. It is very important that we protect the pension of our firefighters. Cost of living adjustment, inflation, it's something that is consistently happening, and it's rising, and it's on the rise. If we can't keep up, then we are losing out with our firefighters. And then it also puts you in a position where your competition for those who want to work here will decrease, because then they'll begin to understand and hear that if my pension is not going to be that great, it won't keep up with it, then how are we going to attract the competitive people that we need to become firefighters in this city? It's important that we keep up with the cost of living adjustment. It's important that we keep that 5% rate that is scheduled to be a part of that with the firefighters. It's important that we take care of those who take care of us. Too often we just want to see people go and just say, you know what, you've done your time, move on. But we want to honor them by saying we value what you've done, we value what you brought to the table, and we want to keep you there. So my role as council, in council, would be to have that discussion. What is it that we have to do to keep this pension alive? What is it that we have to do to make the budget work in order to keep it alive? What are some areas that we don't need to really push to have because we want to keep this alive? We got to be willing to come to the table and have this discussion. We got to be in a position and a place where we value what they bring to the table, and we show them how much we value it. That's what I want to bring to the council.
Thank you. Mr. Cox?
So I did a little bit of research in how the pension systems in other countries work. In Germany, the pension system is usually connected to wage growth. So as wages go up, so do the pensions of such. But also in France, it's more tied to the inflation rate. These are two different ways to kind of tackle the issue. And I think that if we are able to maybe look to these other countries that have definitely had a better pension system than us here in the US, we can find some better solutions to this issue. Because if we do a cost of living adjustment right now, cool, yeah, no, everything's good right now. But inflation will continue later on. What's going to make sure that the next city council, after Chris is long dead, also gets the pensions up for those people? So what we need to do is have a long-term idea of connecting it to either wage growth or inflation. If it is some expense, major expense for the city, then we start with the oldest pensioners first. We get them caught up, increasing their purchasing power over time, and get all of them on board. Benefiting the workers that have given so much of their time here is a priority of me. It is something that is a major benefit that the firefighter unions have fought for over centuries. And I think if we are able to protect it, we need to make it connected to the future, not just for now, not just for when Chris is on city council. Thank you.
Mr. Cox, we'll begin with you for the next question. The next council will play a key role in hiring a permanent city manager. What qualities would you insist that person demonstrate regarding labor relations, public safety investment, and keeping commitments made to employees?
So I got some problems with the city manager. We shall not talk about them, not right now, but what I want to see from a city manager is someone who is, one, pro-labor. I want a pro-labor city manager who is willing to put forth pro-labor policies. I want to see someone who knows what it's like to struggle with bills. I want someone who knows what it's like to feel the sort of dehumanization that happens when you are poor and struggling. I don't want to have another person up there that just makes cuts and goes before the council saying, hey, let's get rid of these jobs because they're seasonals. It doesn't matter, they're just temps. I don't want someone to go up there and put the entire city on a hiring freeze and then screw over the workers. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss up here, but I don't want someone to go up there and start putting everyone's livelihoods at risk. I want someone who is going to make the cuts at the top first. If the powerful get the cuts, that means they're going to be a lot more focused on getting things right. I don't want a city hiring freeze. I don't want that kind of stuff because it has only screwed over the people that work for this city and have given so much of their time and effort in making it great. I want a city manager that cares about us, cares about unions, cares about working class people. I don't want to hear more about businesses and what all these small businesses want. I want to hear this is what the employees of those businesses want. This is what the workers of those businesses want. And if you are not willing to give it to us, I'm not willing to really hear you out on it. I want to only hear the voice of labor from my city manager.
Thank you. Mr. Herron?
So what I would look for from a city manager is someone who's experienced, someone who's been there, done that for a city that is similar to our size or even bigger, because you're going to bring that to the table. As opposed to what my opponent was just saying, that they want to just focus on the employees. Well, you could think that way, but as a small business owner myself, I want to be able to have an idea that I can share as part of what I'm doing as a business owner. So small businesses are important for us to concentrate on. Small businesses are important for those who have small businesses and keep people hired and working and employed. And so a city manager that's willing to collaborate across the board, that just won't go in with their own personal agenda only and disregard that of others. We have to get to a place where we can work back together again. I think what we have had happen in a lot of ways is we all bring our personal agendas to the city council. And when we bring our personal agendas, we get stuck in those personal agendas and we just want to push our personal agenda. Let's get back to listening to what the people want. What do they want us to say? What do they want to see? What do they want to see change? And bring that to the council, not just our own personal thoughts, because we had a bad experience. Life is going to give you bad experiences. Life is going to give you things that will affect you. So let's make sure that the city council, the city manager person that we bring in, is someone who's experienced, but will work with us as part of the council.
So our next city manager needs to be someone who takes proactiveness when it comes to talking with our workers, when it comes to reaching out to our associations, both the Firefighters Association and the Police Association, and not leaving them to second guess or leaving them to find out via rumor or gossip. We want someone who's working with all the workers and the staff here at the city level, and not just the department heads. Number two, we want someone who's experienced, who brings that level of mid-city to large city experience to our town, and who can hit the ground running on day one. We need someone who's focused on fiscal transparency and making sure that the budgetary process is open and transparent. And we need to make sure that we have someone who understands that they are working for the city, they are working for the neighborhoods, the Dentonites that live right here in the city of Denton, and that that's their boss. So that's what I'm going to look for at our next city manager. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Villarreal, we'll begin with you for the next question. Voters deserve clarity about trade-offs. If the city needed to increase revenue, whether through tax adjustment or fees, what are the top 3 areas you would prioritize investing those dollars into? Conversely, if the city chooses not to increase revenue and must reduce expenditures, what are the 3 areas you would be willing to consider cutting, consolidating, or delaying?
Thank you so much. That's a great question because city budgeting is really about priorities and partnerships. Deciding not just what we can afford, but what kind of community we want to build. If we needed to increase revenue, whether through modest tax adjustments or targeted fees, I'd focus those investments on 3 key areas. First, public safety, making sure our police and fire departments have the staffing, equipment, and facilities they need to keep Denton safe. Second, infrastructure, because our roads, water systems, and drainage aren't keeping pace with growth, and that impacts both quality of life and economic development. And third, affordable housing and workforce support, because a city that doesn't invest in the people who live here and work here will eventually price itself out of balance. On the flip side, if we ever faced the need to reduce spending, my starting point would be data, not politics. I wouldn't even consider proposing or supporting cuts until I've seen the hard numbers and sat down with the stakeholders who are actually affected, especially our employee associations like the Firefighter and Police Association. You can't make responsible budget decisions without the input of people who understand how those dollars are used on the ground. That said, I start by looking for consolidation or efficiency opportunities in administrative overhead and outside contracts before I would ever touch core services. We need smarter spending here. We don't need knee-jerk cuts. Every budget reflects the values of the council who passed it. And my values are clear. We protect the essential services, we invest in our people, and we make decisions based on facts and fairness, not ideology. That's how we keep Denton strong and growing in the right direction. Thank you.
Mr. Herron, 2 minutes.
So, can you restate the question?
Sure.
I got it. I just want to make sure
Yeah,
I
no
get
problem.
that.
Voters deserve clarity about trade-offs. If the city needed to increase revenue, whether through tax adjustments or fees,
Yeah.
what are the top 3 areas you would prioritize investing those dollars into? Conversely, if the city chooses not to increase revenue and must reduce expenditures, what are 3 areas you would be willing to consider cutting, consolidating, or delaying?
Yeah, so that is a great question, and thank you for that question. The trade-offs are important. We have to have the conversation. We have to be able to get together and talk through it. So some of the things that are very important as we are talking here from the firefighters' perspective is public safety. So public safety is a priority for us, and that's why we are here. So we want to make sure that we are providing for them and increasing in that area of our public safety for our, not only our firefighters, but our police and any of our first responders that are part of the city. We also want to be able to take a look at affordable housing and see if there's some areas that we can increase in that area to help those who can't afford to live in this city. Because as was stated earlier, inflation is consistently going up and it's hard to afford housing anymore. So we want to take a look at those areas and see where we can make some increases in that. As it relates to the decreases, that's another conversation we would have to have. Because as I stated earlier, do you want to just decrease just to say you did? What does it affect along the way? We need to make sure that we are making decisions that are fiscally responsible, and that includes the benefit of all our citizens. So as we look at these trade-offs, as we look at what we're trying to do, we want to make sure that we are talking to our people, getting the voices of our citizens heard, and then making the best decision that will help them before we just say we're just going to cut somewhere. But if we come to a decision that something needs to be cut, then let's cut it. Let's not hold on to it for tradition's sake. Let's make the difference. That's what I want to bring.
Thank you. Mr. Cox?
All right. So one of the biggest issues in the city is the homelessness issue. And that is a problem that is definitely linked to how we have approached housing over really the past 1,000 years. Having landlords. Landlords have been influential in Denton politics. They have been so influential that they've taken off the cap on the towing fees around here. You get towed, you owe $300 for the first day. We need to tackle housing, and we need to make housing a lot more affordable. And that means either public housing or we start endorsing community land trusts. So this will be a way for people to have generational wealth. It'll be a 99-year-long lease on a house. You will be able to live in that house, be able to have that house, and live there for as long as you want to at an affordable rate. We need to take on the landlord problem that is happening in Denton. We can't just allow it to keep going. I would also like to increase social services. I want to bring back the after-school program. I want to bring these special services that have made Denton so affordable for people because they were made by the city. They were not made for profit. When we had those, we had good paying jobs and we had affordable services for our people. And lastly, I want to give that sort of revenue to our employees. If we are able to have good paying jobs, that means people will want to work for the city of Denton. We want people to work for the city of Denton. We want it to be a competitive job market, right? So let's give them competitive wages. When it comes to what I'm willing to delay or cut, we already said cops, if possible, but consolidating, I also want to oh, my bad.
Okay. So we're a little behind on time, so we won't have any questions from the audience. So we're going to move right into the closing remarks. You have 3 minutes for the closing remarks, and we will begin with Mr. Villarreal.
Thank you all again to the Denton Firefighters Association for hosting this forum and for the work you do to keep our city safe every single day. Tonight, you've heard a lot about what's at stake in this election, and I think it really comes down to who's ready to get to work right now. This is a one-year term, and Denton can't afford a learning curve. We need someone who knows how local government works, who's navigated complex budgets, and who stood their ground when it mattered most. I've done that work, from fighting alongside the Dallas Firefighters Association in the legislature to protect their pensions, to serving on Denton's Planning and Zoning Commission, where I've taken on overdevelopment and stood up for our neighborhoods. I built a public service career on listening, building consensus, and fighting for working families, because that's who keeps the city running. My priorities are simple. Keep Denton affordable, make sure growth serves the people who live here, and ensure our first responders and city workers have the resources they need to keep that community strong. That means staying focused on bread and butter issues, the things that affect folks around the kitchen table every single day, not getting distracted by politics or outside interests. I'm proud to be endorsed by organized labor, the AFL-CIO, the Teamsters, and the Texas State Employees Union, because they've seen that I don't just talk the talk, I deliver results. If you want an experienced leader and proven fighter who will stand up for Denton's families, city workers, and our neighborhoods, I'd be honored to earn your vote for Denton City Council, District 1. You can learn more about my campaign and my plans for Denton at jordanfordenton.com. Thank you, and thank you again for all you do to serve our community.
Thank you. Mr. Herod?
I'd like to thank the firefighters and the association and everyone who came out to be a part of this as I knock over things at this table. I'd like to thank you all for having us out as part of this, to have a discussion about this. It's very important that we understand your needs and be able to meet your needs. One of the things that I can bring to the table as a city council member is a longtime Dentonite that has been here and seen this city grow to where it is. As a person that has grown up right amongst you all in the places, for those of us that have grown up here and see the needs of the city, but not to just do it as usual, not to go at things as we've always done, which seems to bog us down, but to come with a new, fresh perspective that says, hey, let's give that a shot. Let's try that. If we haven't tried it in the past, let's try it. But let's also honor our firefighters and the work that they've done and the achievements that they've accomplished over the many years. They have done an amazing job, firefighters. You all have done an amazing job, and you're doing an amazing job, and we want to keep you at the forefront with public safety and things that are needed for you. So let's have the conversation. One thing I pledge is to have an open door policy, to listen to the citizens, to listen to the firefighters, to listen to those who have something that they want to say, and not just turn you away. We don't want to just do politics as usual. It's what get us in the places that we are when we do politics as usual. Let's try something different and make a change in this city. That's what I would like to bring to the table.
Thank you. Mr. Cox?
I also want to thank the firefighters for this. Thanks, guys. I want to say that I want to fight for the people that are at the bottom here. I don't want to fight for the same moneyed interests that have been running the city for so long. I don't want to fight for the same people that have been pushing the policies that we have been so angry about over the past 10 years. I want there to be something much different than what we've had before. I don't want to do politics as usual, much like my opponents have also said. But when I say that, I mean I want politics from the bottom. I want politics that is pushed from tenant unions, organizing unions. I want people that I know have the interests of those renters and workers in mind. I want the people that have been on the bottom and know what it's like to struggle to give me that sort of input, because I believe that they have that experience. They know how to manage those budgets well. They know how to stretch those dollars. And I want to emphasize that I have been in this city, have been in this city government. I've been the foot soldier for a lot of these policies. I've had to be on the ground putting up all those park attractions for y'all, the big inflatable things that your kids go down, and I gotta say, hey, please don't go on while another one's climbing up. Some of y'all get real mad about that, but I've been working those things. I've been setting up the tables in the Civic Center. All right. I have been the one that puts up all those chairs. I am the person that helps, or I was the person that helped make this city run. And so did a lot of my coworkers. I want to put that out there that I was or am still at the bottom here, and I want to fight for the people that are on the same level as me. If I ain't got a website, I ain't got that kind of money. So I'm on Insta, I'm on Facebook, if you want to go there and yell at me. I also got email. But yeah, thank you.
All right, that was the District 1 City Council candidates here, so. We're going to take a brief intermission here to switch over to District 2 City Council. Okay, we're going to begin with the introductions for the District 2 City Council candidates. Excuse me, we're about ready to begin with the introductions here. If you could find your seats and... Okay, Mr. Archer, you can begin. 3 minutes.
All right. Hello. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Firefighter Association. Thank you, the bar here. It's wonderful. Drinks are great. Thank you. Thank you for Dan Silverly for having us. So a little bit about myself. My name is Robert Archer, the third, right? Got to represent that. I am currently the Denton High School Band Booster President. This will be my last term. Woohoo! 2 years Band Booster President, right? Supporting those kids, right? Bronco country, right? I am also a graduate of University of North Texas. I graduated 2 years ago from the University of North Texas with my bachelor's degree. It's a BASS, right? Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences. Waited to go and get my degree later in life, right? I've been working for municipalities for the last 17 years. I will say this tonight, this forum right here, the Firefighter Association, I'm gonna let everybody know here, I'm a little biased. Currently, I'm an employee for the Texas A&M Services. I'm an employee for TEACS. I travel the entire state of Texas teaching infrastructural safety throughout the entire state for municipality workers. I've worked with fire departments for the last 17 years, not directly with fire department, but indirectly with municipal works, working in the water and wastewater industry. Right, I'm almost to the end of my career. Right, I have, me and my wife moved to Denton in 2012 with our small, they were babies at the time, right? Now they're fixing to graduate Denton High School. One of them is, the other one, you know, got a couple more years till he's out of the house. So we moved to Denton in 2012 because there was work here for me to be able to maintain, be able to live. I've been lucky enough to be able to purchase a home. Matter of fact, a year ago in Denton, after living throughout the entire city, different areas, I bounced for affordable living. Where I live now, where I purchased my home, where I want my grandkids to come, I want this spirit, this culture, and the growth to be smart. That's why I'm running for council. I want the focus to be on families, our education, our community, right? Denton used to be #1 in the state. #1. We still can be. We have not lost that place yet. That's why I'm running for effective change as a homeowner, as somebody who's dedicated to our community and our future. But yeah, I got the little yellow paddle, so I think I'm almost done. I still got a few seconds, but yeah, that's a little bit about me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens?
Thank you. Feels like deja vu being up here at a Firefighters Forum. Hi, my name's Nick Stevens. I'm running for Denton City Council District 2. I've lived in Denton for 21 years. I'm a small business owner in the community. I am the chair of the Health and Building Standards Commission, unanimously reelected to that position 3 times. I'm the co-founder of the JBD College Neighborhood Association, the co-founder of the West Denton Neighborhood Council, and I was a co-chair of passing the largest ballot initiative ever in the city of Denton's history. I bring all of that up to you today not to brag about a resume, but to tell you that I have years of experience of bringing together Democrats, Republicans, and independents in this community to actually get things done. And so I want to tell you a little bit of time that I have left with why I'm running. You've heard throughout this campaign from all of us candidates, Denton's at a crossroads, right? I want to be a little bit more specific because you deserve the truth. So take a swig of your alcohol or, join me in making the sign of the cross. We are at a crossroads, but we're in trouble. Things aren't moving in the right direction, and I think most of us know that. I said this last year, 60% of the residents are living paycheck to paycheck. Homelessness has doubled. We see that green spaces are disappearing, right? We're seeing people struggle every single day in the community, and that we need more leadership on this council to work together to actually get things done on behalf of our community. Last year, for example, we found ourselves in a $14 million deficit. One of the ways to get out of that, unfortunately, was no one getting raises at the city. I really believe we got to do better. And one of the best ways we can do that is by working together. And so I'm really excited about this conversation. I'm not just saying it because y'all are here. It is my favorite forum, partially because I get to drink alcohol while doing it, but also because we get to have a real hard conversation. But we can do that in a way that's optimistic, hopeful, inclusive, and kind about what kind of direction we take for the future of Denton. So thank you for having me here tonight, and I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Okay, we'll move right on to the questions. These will be 2 minutes, and we'll begin with you, Mr. Archer. Candidates often say public safety is the top priority. In a constrained budget, what would you be willing to delay, reduce, or vote against to fund firefighter staffing, pay, or equipment?
All right, that's a great question. As far as the question goes, what would I be willing to delay, postpone, or put off, right? Let's look at this as a homeowner's perspective, as a property owner, as a business owner. Our fire department, because that's what this forum is our fire department, dictates our ISO rating, which is our money. As a homeowner, that dictates my homeowner's insurance. City of Denton's done a wonderful job of being #1 rated, class 1 rated throughout the nation, right? That's competitive. Helps all of us as business owners, homeowners, to keep low rates down on our insurance. So knee-jerking and cutting public education, knee-jerking and cutting community outreaches is not a way to go whenever we are focused on community. Look, for instance, this year alone, one of the cuts that our fire department, tough choices they had to make, was our public education. There's a possibility that our clowns of fire cannot do the outreach this year. What is that, $50,000, $60,000? What other services can be cut? If we were going to look at cuts, we have plenty of sources and smart resources within this city where we don't have to go out to an outside firm or an outside consultant to give us an answer when we have the data and we have the intellects right here with our staff that we trust. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Stevens?
I could give you a lot of answers to that. But overall, the answer, and I'll be specific after this, is I think we have to be a little bit more thoughtful in what we're spending money on. You know, a few months ago, y'all might have read an article in the Denton Record Chronicle about 200 vacancies at the city of Denton. Did you know that they budgeted for those anyways? I think we have to really talk about that because let's use that as an example, right? What is that, $200 million? I found $168,000 right there where we can get you a second EMS lieutenant. And so that's one area where we can really just look at the budget. I'll give you another one. A few years ago, in neighborhood 2 and 6, they did microsurfacing. If you don't know what that is, I don't blame you. I know that because I work in construction. It's 1/4 of an inch of asphalt that you put on roads that are deteriorating a little bit. They do that to prolong the length of time. It was a very expensive contract to do that. We should have never done it for 2 reasons. Why? Number one, because you can't microsurface a road when it's past its period of time. When you do that, it further harms the roads. It deteriorates them quicker. Number two, they were about to dig up those roads a year later and replace them with brand new roads. That's $700,000. And I don't think anyone's intentionally doing that, right? I think it's about understanding that the left hand needs to know what the right hand's doing. And so, again, I know I have to wrap it up, but I just wanted to at least give you 2 examples of things that could be reformed to take a look at of where we could find more money to get you things like an EMS lieutenant. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize, gentlemen. I forgot to remind you. So the yellow paddle is 30 seconds left, and the red will be your time is up. Mr. Stevens, will begin with you for the next question. Firefighters participate in a separate pension system. Unlike employees in TMRS, firefighter retirees do not receive a cost of living adjustment, which means inflation steadily reduces the value of their benefits over time. Knowing that, addressing this would require city participation and funding. Would you support working towards a solution that provides retirees protection against inflation? And what factors would determine your vote?
Yeah, I think you all should get the same COLA adjustments that everyone at the city gets. I mean, I think that's a really fair ask. And so I would support that, right? I guess I would support that is to answer your question. Outside of that, it's about how do we pay for that, right? And we also have to be realistic, which is that, again, like last year, we were in a $14 million deficit. We got to get our budget under control because at the end of the day, everything comes back to the budget. If we don't have enough money, we can't do anything. And I would believe that the firefighters would be convicted about this too, which is that the strength of the city will help the strength of the fire department. One of the ways that I'd like to look into that, it's something I'm really big on, is economic development in the community. And I'm sure we'll talk about that more in this forum, but it's really about receiving more sales tax revenue by having places for people to shop, things to do, more interesting things in this community. It's about bringing more revenue into the community. I think that that is a better option than increasing taxes on folks. And so that's what I'd look at to fund those things and work with y'all.
Thank you. Sure. Firefighters participate in a separate pension system. Unlike employees in TMRS, firefighter retirees do not receive a cost of living adjustment, which means inflation steadily reduces the value of their benefits over time. Knowing that, addressing this would require city participation and funding. Would you support working towards a solution that provides retirees protection against inflation, and what factors would determine your vote?
Okay, awesome. Well, I would combat that as, why are we not already with the question, right? What sense does it make for us as a community, as a city, to scout out the best and have the best on staff and not take care of them after they have dedicated their life protecting all of us, right? So I would look at other resources, not just the city putting out money that could potentially raise all our rates, right? Let's look at the county level. The county received $172 million this past year in SLFRT funds. But where is our cut of that pie? Our staff, our fire department is out there helping with mutual aids. A lot of that's non-reimbursed. The city's out that money. Our firefighters, those are numbers that come down that take away from our fire department that are out there responding not only to our community members, but surrounding community members outside of our city. So, the question ultimately, would I support that? Yes, I would support taking care of our own, the folks that dedicate their lives, not only our staff, right, our firefighters, most of our firefighters, their families, their spouses, right? It is not, especially firefighters alone, it is not just the firefighter that's impacted, it's the families. How are we taking care of the family of that person that has dedicated themselves, the men and women of our fire department? We have to look at that as a whole. Why are we not?
Thank you. Mr. Archer, we'll begin with you for this next question. The next council will play a key role in hiring a permanent city manager. What qualities would you insist that person demonstrate regarding labor relations, public safety investment, and keeping commitments made to employees?
All right, first off, with selecting a city manager, I want to ask at least the audience here, that is up to you. I, as an elected official, if I were to get elected, right, by the votes of you all in this room, right, and in my district, will dictate who that next city manager is. My opinion on the next city manager is somebody who advocates for the staff. Without proper staff and staff report or relations, we won't be able to retain our staff, right? A city manager who's going to evaluate policies in place that make to evaluate and give direction back to the city council of what is working and what is not working within our city. What policies are in place that are too stringent, that prohibit our staff from being able to be effective and continue to be the best that they are to help support our community as a whole, to help our growth as a community, right? This kind of goes hand in hand. Our next city manager shouldn't be somebody that not only, we can't look at, we need somebody that has a proven track record that's done it for years. I personally, as a homeowner, don't want somebody who's been a city manager of Arlington or Dallas or Fort Worth to come and run this unique city, to be the decision maker. We have partnerships right here at our front door to bring in the brightest, the most fresh, talented ideas. There's opportunities as us as a city to be able to use those resources. Somebody who's passionate about our staff and who is open-minded from the voice of the representative on council to be able to make an informed decision and debate back and forth to protect the staff, but also to protect the city of Denton itself.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens.
I mean, there's really two things, right? I want a manager and I want a collaborator. Those are the important things. Look at if you've ever seen it, look at the flow chart of who's in charge at the city. Who's up at the top? Who? The people. Who's below that? Council. And then who's right below that? I didn't mean this to be a pop quiz, but that's right. The city council is underneath of the city, the manager's underneath of the city council. And so, number one, we want someone who is going to listen to the council. I think that's important. Someone that's going to follow the will. Because we have to understand the distinction, right? A manager is not a legislator. They're there to impact or follow through on the work that the council is doing. Outside of that, again, I want a collaborator. Someone that is going to really work hard on the day-to-day, have a good workplace environment, really focus in on our budget, making sure that we're paying off our debt. One of the things that kind of goes unnoticed that I think is really important to me, and it sounds cheesy, but it's important, I want someone that loves Denton. I know this is just a city council race, but I've lived here 21 years because I really love living here. Like, I love this city. I think that we are weird. I think that we're really cool. I think that we're really smart and stubborn. I think that we're diverse in every sense of the word, and we duke things out, and we're creative. I think that there is such a unique factor that makes Denton Denton that no one else in the North Texas region, at least, can replicate. And I want someone that understands that. I want someone that understands that. And so that's what I'm looking for.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens, we'll begin with you for the next question. Voters deserve clarity about trade-offs. If the city needed to increase revenue, whether through tax adjustments or fees, what are the top 3 areas you would prioritize investing those dollars into? Conversely, if the city chooses not to increase revenue and must reduce expenditures, what are 3 areas you would be willing to consider cutting, consolidating, or delaying?
Thanks for the question. I think it can allow me to kind of piggyback off the first question y'all asked about the budget. Again, economic development is really, really important. We all want more jobs here. We all want people to get paid more. We all want people to thrive, not just survive, right? I heard that from someone recently, like, that's a good rhyme. And so those are the things that we want. I've toured around, for example, of an area where I think we dropped the ball. And it's a niche market, and so I hate to bore y'all. The Michelin Group came to Texas, right? And the Michelin Group, they review restaurants. It's a huge economic development boon for all of these cities that we're investing in it. It's created, because of that prestigious prize, a bunch of new business in places like Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio. You know how much it costs to buy in for Michelin to come to your community? It's $75,000. And you see all of these communities exploding with wonderful things just because of that small investment. And so I think we need to have economic development that really focuses on our community so that we don't have to raise people's taxes, right? You asked the second part of the question is what are some of the things that we can cut? And I want to reframe it, which is maybe where are areas that we could do better? And I'll give one more construction example, because it's something I care about and I think everyone in the community cares about. We just passed a huge bond project in downtown Denton, right? Where all of my streets are getting ripped up and I'm smiling really happy every morning. That shouldn't be a big $42 million project. It should have been cut into many smaller projects for two reasons. One, it's a lot cheaper. It's smaller overhead. Small businesses are able to do things more efficiently and save money, whereas they don't have the overhead or the big cars or the big buildings, all that kind of stuff for these big construction companies. Number two, as a plus side, it makes the projects go a lot faster and they're a lot more manageable. And so that is one of the things I'd look into. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Archer?
All right, thank you. So the question of, again, kind of goes back to the first one, right? Tony here talked about economic development. Let's talk about some data here, right? Some data. The city of Denton itself, not only the fire department does a wonderful job. Again, one of the number ones in the nation, right? That goes hand in hand with our water department, right? So city of Denton itself gets 8.8 billion gallons per year from the two resources of water. On average, the last study that was done in 2021, we use 7.1 billion gallons per year on average, right? So that still leaves us about 1.7 billion gallons of water. Water is the gold. We have those water rights. The city has those water rights. We can utilize those water rights with our neighboring city or neighboring universities where there's been successful business that have come and been started that have landed somewhere else and not in the city, where people have gone to universities at TWU and UNT here, have bright ideas, have gone out in the world and been successful and want to expand. We have leverage, but yet we build apartments. We build our capita. We have the workforce. We have the people. We have the strength in Denton. It is bringing our development together to be able to really focus on what is our strengths that we have, what leverage do we have to bring big businesses here to our community and not 15 miles outside of our city district where we don't get that tax fund, where we don't get that tax revenue to be able to help support our growth. We're not utilizing our leverages correctly to be able to bring those companies to, they're beating down the door anyways. But with businesses, right? If we have a clear plan in place for businesses, sorry, all right.
Thank you. We're going to move right along to the closing remarks. So, Mr. Stevens, you have 3 minutes.
To the Fire Association, thank you so much for having me here. I'll be very blunt. I'm asking for your support this year. Your support would mean a lot for me and my campaign. I'm going to say ahead of time so I don't forget, I've got some beautiful yard signs over there. If you're in District 2, please take one. And if you are so kind to donate, you can go to nickfordenton.com. I would love your support. Like I said at the beginning, 60% of our residents are living paycheck to paycheck. For me, that's not a number. Those are real people. And quite frankly, they're my people. I grew up in a broken family. I grew up in affordable housing where there were 5 of us in 2 rooms. I was on free lunches, and what my mom did desperately want for me was to have a better life than she had for herself. And I got that. She lived her dream, and I'm living my dream. I started my own small business, and I have had the great opportunity of serving my community. I'm asking for your vote because I love Denton, and you're going to hear me say that over and over and over again for the next 54 days. One of the things that I love most, and it's one of the things I think about most, is music. And I want to bring that up as I close because I sang in a band here before I ever debated up here. The band name was called This Will Not Make You Happy. I don't know what that says. And so I can promise if you elect me, I won't always make you happy. But I will always try to do the right thing. I will always try to listen. I will always admit when I'm wrong. I will screw up. I won't get it right. But I'll try to do better every time. I'm running because I really believe that we can do wonderful things as a community, and that's why I'm asking for your vote. And so thank you so much to the firefighters again, to the people who came here. I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you.
Mr. Archer.
All right, thank you. So Nick, thank you. I wanna say with Nick statement there, right? As a lot of our stuff that I've listened to his stuff, I align a lot with some of his stuff. I respect that. I have a different perspective. I have a family. I've been a husband, still currently, right? I got. She's coming home from work, right? So she's, she might get mad, but father, right? I'm a father of 4 boys, almost done, and I love this community so much that I've moved here because of work, and I've seen this community grow. For the last few years, the more that I've got involved with community engagement with the Denton High School Band, and the more I've been involved directly with the community, the rubber stamping, the process of, normal operation, this is the way we've always done it, does not work as a homeowner. Somebody who's compassionate that, you know what, eventually, hopefully, one of my kids will bring grandbabies around. Hopefully, right? Got to get the rest of them out of the house. But, I'm not asking for money. And the reason why I don't ask for money at all is because I want to live that life. He talks about 60%, right? Nick's talking about 60% of us live paycheck to paycheck. Me and my wife, me and my family are part of that 60% that live paycheck per check to check, right? We've lived that life for many years. It was luck that we were able to purchase a home here. It was luck, right? Pure luck. It was hard work and dedication. I'm committed to bringing that to the council, right? What I'm wanting to see is neighbors talk to neighbors. I don't need signs. I don't need money. What I need is community. I need representation of our community come together and talk. That's what builds us, is bringing up conversations, social drinking. I like social drinking a little bit, right? But the coming togetherness, right? That is my focus. How can we come together? I don't need yard signs. I don't need money. What I need is you neighbors talking to each other and not avoiding the tough conversations such as politics. It is the real world that we got to look at, and it's real change, and that's what our council needs, is real change, somebody willing to ask tough questions and be defiant and say, no, this is not okay. This is not what the people want. And following up on our people. I've seen so many times people come to council not understanding Robert's Rule of Order. They come to council, vent their frustrations. Nobody in the current seat follows back up to put it on the agenda. Listening to people is what's important, and at least bringing it to the agenda so there's more than just one voice talking of it. Follow through. That is the most important thing. All right, thank you.
Thank you, District 2 candidates. Okay, if I could get the place 5 candidates to the stage while we take a quick break and shift gears here. Okay, just a reminder, Craig here is going to have the 2 paddles. Yellow is 30 seconds left, and red is time's up. Okay, we'll begin with the 3-minute introductions. Mr. Ferry, go ahead.
Woo! Good evening, Dans. Woo! We're here. Thank you for locking in and waiting for this 3rd round of fun. My name is George Michael Ferry Jr., like Fairy Godmother, and George Michael, the gay 80s singer, if you're familiar. I am a Denton resident of almost 21 years. I came here as a budding dance performance major. I am a UNT grad. I am a husband. I am a dog parent. Prue and Phoebe, if you're watching, what's up? I am a small business owner, and I am a social worker. I am a lover, first and foremost, also of this town. I am grateful to stand before you. I'm grateful for the Denton Firefighters Association for providing us with this space to come together as community and to have this opportunity to chat. I have served on 12 different boards across 20 years, spanning thousands upon thousands of volunteer hours throughout my time in this town. Some being Denton Main Street Association, Pride Denton, Outreach Denton, Parks Board for 6 years, chair for 3 of those years, currently the president of Denton Affordable Housing Corporation, the vice president of the Denton County Homeless Coalition. I say all of this because I need to inform you that I've been doing the work for 17 of the last 20 years that I've lived here. I know what it looks like to struggle to work paycheck to paycheck, service industry 15 years. I've owned 2 businesses. One was a wine bar on the square, and now I own my own private practice as a licensed clinical social worker, which means I'm not only a small business owner, but I'm also one of 2 employees, my other co-owner. So I understand both sides still to this day. I hope that I convey to you why I'm running. I hope you hear the heart and intention behind it. And I hope that if you hear anything tonight that comes out of my mouth that scares you about me or my campaign, that you reach out to me, catch me after this is over, and let's schedule a coffee and chat about it. I am unafraid to sit in front of any human being and talk about the great town we love together, because at the end of it, that's the common ground. We care about where we are, right? So thank you for your time. Glad you're here. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Miss Erica Garland, 3 minutes.
All right. Hello, my name is Erica Garland. I'm running for Denton City Council Place 5. It's an at-large seat, so everyone in Denton can vote for me. I'd love to kind of tell you a little bit about myself. So I've lived in Denton for 17 years. I raised a family here. For most of that time, I was a single mom of 4 boys, so we have that in common. I built my career at the Denton Enterprise Airport. I currently work for a major airline. I source, interview, and hire first officers. So for those of you that are jumping on your next flight, just know that I source those great pilots that are in the cockpit. I have served on our airport advisory board, as well as I'm currently a commissioner on our planning and zoning commission. So I'm running again for city council because I do feel like many people have said it tonight, we are at a crossroads. We need leadership that is rooted in service to our community. We need people that are running for council and serving on all of our boards and committees that are doing it for the right reasons. We've seen a lot in the past few years, a lot of activists and operatives and people that are using these seats to build their career in politics. And I just think that at its core, we have to get back to the core issues of our city, and that is safety, that's roads and infrastructure, and just focusing on the needs of the citizens and listening to them. I'd love to kind of tell you a little story about myself. So about 10 years ago, I was in a really bad car wreck. I had my 6-month-old in the back. I was going down the highway about 60 miles an hour. Someone pulled out in front of me. I T-boned them. It was a really, really bad wreck. And I ended up, in trying to stop, I ended up breaking my femur. It was a compound fracture. It was it was bad. And so the people that stood over me and told me I was going to be fine and that I was going to live, I was in the worst pain of my life, but that I was going to be fine and my son in the back was going to be fine, were firefighters. They were the ones that pulled my leg into traction. And so I've seen firsthand how you guys serve, and girls, serve people on what many times is the worst day of their lives. And so I know what I had to see that day, I will never unsee. I know that that is something that you guys deal with every single day. And so I thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for having us. I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Caleb?
Hi, my name is Caleb. Obviously, the first thing you notice about me is that my hair is brown. No, I'm just kidding. It's that I'm young, or at least that I look really young, which I am young. I'm 24 years old. I'm a student at the University of North Texas. I'm studying political science, and honestly, I never thought about doing this at all. It was never something that I wanted to do, but instead of sitting to the side and seeing things go on that I didn't really agree with or like, I decided to take a stand and do something about it. I don't have much experience. I'm still in school. I graduate soon. But I don't have experience because I haven't been able to. Like we've talked about earlier today, a lot of Denton residents are living paycheck to paycheck. And I think a lot of these people, or maybe some of these people in the room too, are living paycheck to paycheck, because that's how it is for me. That's not right. Everybody deserves to live a fulfilled life without having to struggle where their next meal is going to come from, or where they're going to stay for the night, or anything like that. I was a manager at Walmart for about 2.5 years. And during that time, I got to help a lot of people. A lot of my associates came through. They were UNT students. And I've seen a lot of them drop out of college just because they have to drop out and work full-time just to afford to live. And that's not right. They come here to make a life better for them, and then they end up having to stop doing what they're doing and barely survive. And so I'm up here trying to fight for what I think is going to be right for Denton's future. A lot of people talk about Denton's future, but I think we don't really look towards it. A lot of people in these positions and who are in the positions right now are pretty set for themselves. So they don't really think about the people who are still coming up. And as a younger person, I think that's important to think about Denton's future, because we are Denton's future. And so, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll begin the questions with Mr. Ferry, and you guys will have 2 minutes. Question 1. Candidates often say public safety is the top priority. In a constrained budget, what would you be willing to delay, reduce, or vote against to fund firefighter staffing, pay, or equipment?
Thank you for the question. I believe Nick said it earlier. I think first and foremost, it's interesting that we hold 184, I think is the actual total of open positions that were reported in September by DRC, that's held against our deficit. And I wonder why in those moments we can't use the city auditor, right, who works for council directly, right, to be independent, and ask them to analyze how many of those jobs have been vacant for a year, 2 years, how long has this vacancy been unfulfilled by a qualified employee? Why not reallocate that funding to roles that are needed, like the EMS lieutenants that are needed? There are 2 that are needed per y'all's data that you provided to us. There are also other opportunities. Why is it that last year in 2025, the city gave away $8 million in either tax breaks or fee waivers for developments? not for affordable, not for affordable housing, friends. Just gave them away. We're giving money away all the time. We leave money on the table all of the time at our city. So my promise to you is that has to stop. When we talk about affordable housing, we have to talk about real deep affordable housing, the 30% AMI, the 50% AMI, healthier mixes that actually make sense for the 60% of folks, myself included, living paycheck to paycheck, and also for the 30% of Alice households, so severely access at limited income, correct? We have to do better. And these are just two ways that we could make up a large amount of money. 8 million is more than half of the deficit. What are we talking about, right? Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Garland? Yes, ma'am.
Me?
Yes.
Sorry. So, as a city, we are guilty of years and years and years of bad spending. We've had good years where we were kind of up, and then we spent anything that maybe could have gone in a reserve in ways that maybe weren't what was best for all of us. We've wasted money on frivolous lawsuits. We all have been victims of roads that get torn up, and then a month later not a month later that they fix it, but a year later when they fix it, then they're tearing it up and redoing it again. We see this all across our city. I think at its core, we have to have a council that works cohesively together, that communicates to one another, they listen to each other, they listen to the community. And right now, that's something that we don't have. We don't have a council that works well together. I think that more than cutting anything, that we have to really take a holistic look at our allocation of resources. We have to look at that and kind of see, okay, what do we have going for us? Where are the needs and where are the gaps? Where's the overlap? We really have to look at the data. I've spoken to our firefighters and our police officers, and a consistent messaging that I hear is 99% of their calls are going to help and aid our unhoused friends and neighbors. And when really maybe the best use of those resources and allocations is to maybe develop a task force, pull together and holistically look at all of the services that we have in our community. What are we doing? What are other counties and other cities in the county doing? And then pull people together and maybe have a task force that can help alleviate some of these issues. You hear things like someone needs to refill their prescription.
Ms. Garland, I'm sorry, your time's up.
Sorry.
Mr. Caleb Beese.
All right, thank you for the question. That's a tough question. Whenever you're talking about cuts, that could mean a lot of things, and it could mean some dangerous things for a lot of people. It's not an easy thing to answer, especially without having a conversation with everyone on council about it. And so I don't think it's as easy as, oh, let's cut this. I think it's more, let's look into our budget. Let's look at what's not really helping us right now. What are we spending our money on? What are we taking this money for? And how is it helping us? And so instead of looking to cut specific things, we want to look to cut the things that aren't helping our residents, the things that aren't helping. Whenever you look at the road construction, it's taking forever. That costs a lot of money, and then it takes forever, and it just doesn't help. So what can we do to make that faster, more efficient, and so that we spend less money on that for a less amount of time? It's not about, oh, let's cut this specific thing. It's about looking for the things that don't help us. And so that's how I would go about it.
Thank you. Mr. Meese, we'll begin with you for the next question. Firefighters participate in a separate pension system. Unlike employees in TMRS, firefighter retirees do not receive a cost of living adjustment, which means inflation steadily reduces the value of their benefits over time. Knowing that, addressing this would require city participation and funding, Would you support working towards a solution that provides retirees protection against inflation, and what factors would determine your vote?
All right, that is a good question too. The simple answer is yes. I would 100% work towards a solution. Whenever I first found out about this, because I didn't know, I thought it was ridiculous. So one of the specific things that would have to be for me to vote on to a solution is a more consistent schedule. Preferably, I would like to see a yearly COLA, but obviously, we'd have to look at the budget for that. But that would be one of my things, is yearly to at least 2 years, every 2 years. And so that would be one of the major things that I would look at, is because our firefighters do a lot. Whenever I worked at Walmart, I had to call our emergency services quite a bit, and they were always the first to respond, and they were always the most helpful. No matter what it was, they would always be there. They'd be smiling, and I know they'd be stressed out because they'd have a long night or a long day, but they'd always be there ready to help and serve our community. And so they're important to our community. And I mean, look at the accreditations that they have. You know, they're really good. So obviously, I think it's important that we take care of them. So, thank you.
Thank you. Miss Erica Garland, yes.
Sorry, I can't hear you over the clapping. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
So our firefighters face a variety of post-retirement challenges that the average person doesn't particularly have to deal with. Much of that is unique compared to the rest of us. There's specific health concerns that they have to deal with, cost of living adjustments. So the idea that they don't have the same benefits when it comes to, like, compared to the average person is pretty unsettling. To simply put, I would absolutely support a cost of living adjustment to make sure that the people who are taking care of each one of us are also taken care of. So the real question is, how do we pay for it? I think that collectively in Denton, we really have to discuss what we're doing with our economic development, what businesses we are attracting, how do we become more attractive, and really focus on kind of that piece of it all. I would certainly welcome the conversation with retired firefighters, kind of what their experience is, people, the representatives that are currently on the pension, and making sure that those individuals are people that kind of fully understand the nuances of it. And then also, of course, our city staff, and making sure that all possibilities that are available to us are on the table. I think that we know our firefighters risk their lives for us every day. It shouldn't be expected of them to also risk their financial well-being. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ferry?
As someone who's paid in a TRS, working as a public district social worker, and with someone whose husband is a 17-year public school teacher, I know all too well, woo is right. Thank you, public education. I understand the system well, and I very flatly want to just say, yes, absolutely. The firefighters that work in our city should absolutely get a 70% cost of living adjustment, just like the city employees do, period, full stop, right? And to speak to paying for it and to speak more succinctly to economic development, we have 2 universities and 1 community college that exist in our town. I want to know how intentional City Council has been, and I can guarantee you I will be very intentional to say, what programs are generating the most graduates? What can we use our economic development catalyst funds for, our grant funding of hundreds of thousands of dollars, to incentivize businesses that will come here and immediately be an opportunity for someone graduating one of our 3 universities and colleges. I don't understand why we also have not really addressed the tens of thousands of empty square footage of business space in the TERS, the downtown area, and the surrounding area, just vacant. It's vacant. Why are we not putting in a test kitchen? I've been to Portland, I've been to cities all around this country that incentivize people by having a building ready to go with the equipment needed, and they give you a year to pilot your own menu, take all those funds and start your own brick and mortar. Why aren't we doing things like this? We have to be creative with the funds we have available. They exist. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Ferry, we'll begin with you for the next question. The next council will play a key role in hiring a permanent city manager. What qualities would you insist that person demonstrate regarding labor relations, public safety investment, and keeping commitments made to employees?
That's such a great question. I think first and foremost, I want someone who does have a proven track record of being able to balance a budget and keep people on task. Just like a nonprofit, I'm the president of the board. I oversee the executive director, the city manager. I make sure that the vision, the values, the mission, the goals are being carried out, right? Because above me is what? The people, your wants and wishes, right? That's why I'm holding town halls, one in each district. That's why I'm being intentional with having any conversation with any human being over coffee anytime. I say all of that to say I want a city manager who is humble, who is willing to have hard conversations with staff, who wants their input on what they think would make their department run more efficiently. I also want a city manager who's unabashed to tell council, hey, this is not working. You know, we need to maybe start trying to steer the ship this way. Can we get some community input? I want more collaboration. I feel like we're in an era where if you watch a city council meeting, it's like watching reality television, where it just devolves into bickering and name calling, and it's a really, really embarrassing. It's bad role modeling, man. Like, we deserve better. I want a city manager that will also speak candidly and get city councilors to act on their behest, on the behest of the people. I say all of that to say I think that I want to make sure that our next city manager isn't walking in and wanting to overhaul everything and take away what has been instilled by the folks here, the culture that we've all created and enjoy. As a creative myself, I want to make sure that our plans come first. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Erica Garland?
Do you mind repeating the question?
Sure. The next city council will play a key role in hiring a permanent city manager. What qualities would you insist that person demonstrate regarding labor relations, public safety investment, and keeping commitments made to employees?
Okay, thank you. So I told you guys in my intro what I do for a living. I am a recruiter. I source, interview, recruit, and hire, like full cycle. So that is literally what I do every single day, is make sure that we have the very best person in that spot. When I heard this question the other day in the mayoral forum, and it just kind of struck me as, you know, it's very similar to what I do every day, which is pilot hiring. There's usually 4 questions that I need answered before I'm good on signing off on someone. Why do they want to work here? Like, what's their motivation? Is it a stepping stone for the next position? Or is this their end goal? Like, is this where they have been working for the last 10 years to be right now? The second one, I'm going to give you guys the gouge on pilot hiring here. Are they safe? Do I trust my family with them? Do I trust the company's resources with them? Do they understand and appreciate the culture of the company as we know it? And then are they also somebody that will contribute to it? So a lot of people will say, oh, I love the culture, I love the culture. Are you someone that loves it, or are you someone that will actually contribute to it and keep it going? Another one is, are my crews and our team, are they going to want to fly with you? Are you somebody that other people want to work with? When I call people that you've worked with in the past, are you someone that they're like, yes, that person is awesome? And then, do you communicate well? Are you able to kind of explain yourself and communicate and work cross-departmentally with different individuals and be able to kind of come to a common ground? In many ways, I feel like it's so similar. And so I feel like in our city manager, we have to understand what their motivation is, and do we trust them with the city that we love? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Meese?
All right, thank you. This is a really fun question. I like it, and I think it's important to pick the right person. But I think the right person varies. People aren't going to agree on that. And in my personal opinion, what I would look for in a city manager is someone who knows life here in Denton at the bottom, not someone who is really, really set off. Experience is great, but it doesn't mean anything if they don't care about the people. I want someone who is going to care for each and every one of you, and is going to care for me, is going to care for the future residents of Denton, is going to care for anybody who comes to Denton, whether they're a student, whether they're a visitor, whether they live here. I want someone who cares about people. And so that is my key important outlook whenever I'm looking for something like that. Because at this level, it's important to care for the people who are here, who showed up here, who live here. And so that's really my main concern. But on top of that, I think it's important that the residents have a decision in that kind of thing. It shouldn't just be up to council members. It should be everybody's decision because it affects everybody. And so that's all that I have. I got the yellow card.
Thank you. Caleb, we'll begin with you. Voters deserve clarity about trade-offs. If the city needed to increase revenue, whether through tax adjustments or fees, what are the top 3 areas you would prioritize investing those new dollars into? Conversely, if the city chooses not to increase revenue and must reduce expenditures, what are 3 areas you would be willing to consider cutting, consolidating, or delaying?
All right. So there are a few things that I am really passionate about. One of them is going to be housing, obviously, because Denton rent is getting pretty expensive right now. Whenever I first moved here, I think I was paying about $600 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. And now I am paying $2,200 for the same space, same size, and yeah, it's not fun. I would love to own a home one day, and me and my husband have our dream home picked out here in Denton. But as of right now, it doesn't look like it's a possibility. And so housing is a big thing for me. Helping people find affordable housing is going to be something that's important in the future. People aren't going to be able to save if they have to pay $2,200 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. A lot of people don't like apartments being built. It's a college town. We do need some apartments, but the people who own the apartments shouldn't get to set whatever they want for the rent. Another thing that I'm really passionate about is transit. I think that transportation and housing and affordability and everything, it all works together. And so whenever people have a different option for transportation, oh, that was quick, they're going to be able to save more money. And so I would really like to put money into that transportation, our public transportation. And then thirdly, I'd really like to see some more support for our homeless population. I went through Oak Street and I got to talk to some residents, and one of the things that they told me was that if a unhoused neighbor is having a mental health crisis, they get picked up and dropped off at the hospital, and they have to find their way back anywhere, and I don't think that's right. So that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Erica Garland?
Do you mind repeating it one more time?
Yes. No, I don't mind. Voters deserve clarity about trade-offs. If the city needed to increase revenue, whether through tax adjustment or fees, what are the top 3 areas you would prioritize investing those new dollars into? Conversely, if the city chooses not to increase revenue or must reduce expenditures, what are 3 areas you would be willing to consider cutting, consolidating, or delaying?
So that's the big question, right? It's a loaded question because it's something that's on everybody's mind of How do we move forward, and how do we pay for it? I said that I kind of alluded to this in one of the previous questions. I think we have to take a really long, hard look at our budget. We need to see what we're spending exactly and why. We need the most up-to-date data, and we need our community input. There's so many things. Denton has so many great things going for it. We have so many resources, and we really need to have a holistic view of what's working, where is there overlap, and where is there gaps. We certainly have to put money into public safety and infrastructure. That, to me, is just the priority. We're growing at a historic rate. We all see it. And so with that is going to bring additional calls, emergency, and things that maybe our city hasn't faced in the past. The question kind of alludes a little bit, maybe I'm interpreting it wrong, of raising revenue. If that's on the table as far as raising taxes, I think that is something I can't even fathom, because there's so many of the average Dentonites that aren't doing well right now. And make no mistake, I consider myself one of those average Dentonites. When I was a single mom, I mean, there were times I was working 3 jobs just to make ends meet. Losing the after-school program was something that broke my heart, because that was something I also depended on at one time. And so I think that we really have to kind of look at things. Am I out of time? One of the things I will say, what I would love to see is, I told you guys I've worked at the airport for years. That is an underutilized economic driver that so many people don't recognize. So many people in Denton don't even realize we have an airport, and we have a nice airport. We have out-airported all of these little small municipal airports, and then like
Your
McKinney
time's
is
up,
now.
Ms. Garland.
Okay. The next forum, I promise.
Thank you. Mr. Ferry.
To be continued. Thank you for asking this question. I've heard both my opponents and others talk about our unsheltered population. As the vice president of the Denton County Homeless Coalition, as the appointee for the Housing and Homelessness Leadership Team for our county, and as the president of Denton Affordable Housing Corp., let's talk about affordable housing, and let's talk about our unsheltered neighbors. Did you know that on average we spend $35,000 a year per unhoused resident on criminal trespass stays in jail and emergency medical services? $35,000 per person per year. Do the math. 690 in the PIC count last year. Do that math. Now, divide that in half. That's what it would cost to do permanent supportive housing in Denton, with wraparound services for mental health, medical health. We're breaking ground in November on an 84-unit apartment complex with wraparound support services, partnering with Denton County MHMR for 84 people to potentially live out their entire days in their own space for the rest of their life. This is a housing first model. You don't need to be sober. Studies have shown 91% of people who enter a PSH stay housed for over a year. There are solutions, there is data, there's a lot of cost savings on the part of the taxpayer. Affordable housing is the same. I've watched it go from an idea in our head to pen on paper to going before P&Z to getting to the ground to getting to be pencil when it's finished. I know what it takes. I know what it looks like. I know the conversations, and I know that we could be doing a lot better with our local agencies like DAC, who are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get before P&Z when we're intentionally going to the city day one. We should be having that cost savings on the front end so that we can afford the project and put that more toward helping people with their rents. And the last thing I'll say is nothing, because I'm out of time.
Okay. We're now going to move to closing remarks, which is 3 minutes, and we'll begin with Mr. Caleb Messi. Meese. Sorry about that.
All right, 3 minutes. Wow. This time has gone way faster up here rather than sitting from the audience. So it's also weird. I can't really see half of the audience up here. It's way bigger if you're out there. But my closing remarks are pretty simple. I love Denton, and I love the way that it is, and I just want to make it the best that it can be. Too many of my friends who are students have come and gone just because either it's too expensive or there's no jobs here for them. And I want to look towards something that's going to fix that. I want people to love Denton as much as I love it. And I know that all of you love Denton as much as I love it, or else you wouldn't be here. And so that's what I'm about. I love Denton. I love the people. The people are what make Denton Denton. And so I'm here for you guys. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on social media, Mies for Denton, any platform. Just shoot me a message. Sometimes I'm a late responder, but I will get to it. I have a few things on the back table. If you'd like to take a look, feel free to take one. Other than that, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for the Firefighters Association for hosting this. And I hope to see each and every one of you again sometime soon. Thank you.
Ms. Erica Garland, 3 minutes.
So I'm going to say something a little controversial. Local politics in Denton is broken. Many of us have felt the strain for a while now, and many residents have said that they don't feel like they're being heard. We heard that from up here tonight. That concerns me because the representation, that's the whole point of council, is they are representing our community. They're representing each one of us. And if multiple people are saying that they don't feel like they're being heard, that's a problem. When someone runs for office, they're choosing to represent everybody, not just the people that maybe they align with politically. We don't need any more council cliques. I want to be clear about something. There is nobody in this room that I wouldn't have coffee with, or I wouldn't talk to, or I wouldn't greet and love to get to know better. When I ran a couple years ago, I reached out to people from all across our community, including people that didn't always share my perspective on various things. That's how we grow. We have to have conversations. We have to get to know people. I need to understand why you feel strongly about something. And maybe you would understand me better if we have the conversation. I don't think you have any business being in council chambers if you live in an echo chamber. And that's what a lot of people are dealing with right now. Representation means listening to everyone. So not just the people that carved out and spent their night here. There's so many people at home, people that had to work. And then there's a lot of people that just don't feel safe or comfortable speaking up because they don't want to be attacked. Through my time serving on planning and zoning, I've had the responsibility of reviewing so many projects and hearing from residents on different sides of the fence. Some of those get really controversial. People feel strongly about it when you cut down their trees. People are tired of seeing the same thing happen over and over, and people are complaining and saying over and over, and it just keeps happening. My responsibility is, in my opinion, is to listen, consider the facts, and weigh what's best for the community as a whole. And that's the approach I will bring in public service. I want to say I'm not running on a slate. I'm not running as a team. I'm not running to push partisan agendas. I'm running because I believe Denton needs thoughtful, common sense leadership that's focused on the people that live here, that have been living here, and then want to keep living here and keep being able to afford living here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ferry.
Thank you again to the Denton Firefighters Association for putting on this opportunity to talk. I really appreciate it. I'm running because I feel like we're in an era where accountability is nowhere, and transparency and knowledge aren't things that we feel comfortable giving. I think that we don't know what we don't know, right? That's a social work saying, like, we don't know what we don't know, right? Because we're forever learners. I think to be a learner, you will have to not only have the conversations, but also be out doing the work. You know, I've literally dug trenches to put in water pipes for a mobile home community in our town. I've helped fight for an NDO to protect queer and trans people with Deb Armentor and Equality Texas. It's having intentional conversations that build to actionable steps. And I think that, again, I go back to the beginning. If anything scares you about me or anything I've said tonight, I genuinely mean it when I say, let's go out for coffee. GeorgeForDenton.com, that's my merch. But more importantly, I enjoy working and doing the labor. And I do it because at the end of the day, I want to be able to walk around my streets and feel like we all support one another, not feel afraid, not feel othered, and feel like I don't have to sweat that my rent or my mortgage isn't gonna get paid, or if I filled up my gas tank a day ago and it's $1 more. You know, I want to make it to where we're not only focused on big important things, but that we get to have the culture that we celebrate, the arts and jazz fests, the blues fests, the way that we can come together as a community to celebrate the vibrant culture that we back up by standing up for each and every one of them. That's who I am. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Place 5 City Council candidates. As a reminder, the PAC endorsements will not be till tomorrow. The candidates will be notified around lunchtime. Then after that, you can find it on our social medias of who we're endorsing.
Me awake, and I am full of thoughts of only you, and you can't afford to take the collect calls they give me. These walls, these walls, these walls, these walls of me. Oh, Mom, don't find out. Oh, my dad, don't find out. Oh, please. Oh, please.